Welcome to Hard Hats and Horizons, the podcast where we dig deep into the construction and economic development shaping the future of Dallas-Fort Worth. We bring you insights from industry leaders and visionaries who are driving growth in North Texas. From construction projects to industry trends and insights, we cover it all. So grab your hard hat and join us as we explore the people and projects shaping the skyline of DFW. Now, here is your host, Andrea Pender.
Okay, well, we are going to go ahead and get started with our podcast today. And we have Aarohi Pilankar with OTJ Architects. And she is a principal with the firm. And we have known each other, 10 years or so at this point? So kind of talk to us and share a little bit about OTJ to get us started.
Sure. So thank you for having me. This is exciting. And I was just thinking about that this morning, that it's been about 10 years since we were, first connected. And I was at a different firm at the time. And OTJ is DC based. We've been around for 35 years, celebrated our 35th anniversary.
Nice.
There were OTJ cookies in the office yesterday.
Nice.
But the Dallas office is fairly new, and that was my leap of faith to start up the Dallas office. And I like to say that we do A to Z, no airports and no zoos, but there's a lot of, project types that OTJ does. We started out as a interiors focused firm, 1990. And since then, we've added a lot of project types to our portfolio. So mixed use, workplace, government, life science, you name it, there's always an expert.
Nice.
OTJ.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. What are you guys focusing on here in DFW?
So in DFW, we are focusing on mixed use, hospitality, multifamily, workplace. And on the workplace side, we're doing both ground up as well as interiors. So commercial interiors, landlord work, spec
Nice.
suites, you name it, we're doing it. Right now, I would say we're about, 70-30 in ground up and interiors.
Okay.
But we're hoping to accelerate them on the ground up.
Nice. And so you started this office here in Dallas. And so how many are we up to now?
We
in the
are
office?
9.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
We are 9, and our team said that we have a glow up because
Awesome.
we have a new office with all new furniture. So it's really
Nice.
exciting to have that.
Did you move offices or you just got new furniture?
No, we moved offices too. So we were in this really small doctor's office in Oak Lawn,
Yeah.
and now we are in Uptown.
Okay.
So
Okay. I've been to that office.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. It's nice when you get a new space and then you can make it your own and, and it's
Yeah.
more you rather than.
it's more us, and the team gets to, visit all the fun places. There's coffee shops and good food, and, the quads just open next to us. So it's just high energy, which I love.
I know that that's a big thing, like when you're talking about recruiting, like with, where's the office space? Because some places it's technically walkable, but it's a
Yeah.
walkable place to lunch where that lunch is $50.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
like lower price.
I feel like we've got a good mix, and we are in the office 4 days a week. And then we work from home on Fridays. So when
Nice.
we are in the office, yes, we've got good coffee in the office, but I think coffee is more than coffee. It's a ritual, right? So there's a Starbucks, there's other places around the office that you can take a quick walk,
Yep.
step away from your desk, and
Yeah.
that's always fun.
I like that because there are things that are rituals and it kind of can reset your brain and,
Yeah.
and then off you go 10 minutes later
And you're
fresh and recharged.
exactly.
Yeah, that's huge. I know. I feel like I was reading something the other day and it was like, you don't have to sit at your desk all day, every day. You need to get up. You need to, kind
Walk
of,
around.
walk around and
Yeah.
then come back and you're ready to, bang out 2 more hours worth of work or
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Okay, well, talk to us a little bit about your background and maybe tell us about how you got here, how you got started in the industry, like all that.
Okay, so I'm born and raised in Mumbai, India.
Mhm.
If you can't tell from the accent, but I have been here 20 years now.
Wow.
We just had a reunion of, like, an Aggie reunion of friends who we all met at Texas A&M, and we all were just in disbelief, like, has it really been that long?
We're not
As it
old
was.
enough for
We're
that.
not old enough. We've got 2 generations. It was 4 families with kids, aged 38. It's like, how did we get here? Because in my head, I'm still 21.
Exactly.
Or like 23, about to leave home for the first time and go do my master's at Texas A&M. But I'll back up. Born and raised in Mumbai. One sister. Very maternal. What do you say? Like women-oriented family. Mom worked. Dad's an artist. We live in a really busy city. If you've seen pictures of Mumbai, you know that the personal space is next to none. So I know one of your questions is like, which is your favorite city? And New York is my favorite city here because it's all the energy that I've grown up with.
Nice. Yeah.
But I've always been academically focused and artistically inclined. So it kind of architecture just seemed like the right fit for me. And I didn't have a backup plan, truly, which scares me now when I think about it. Like, how was I so sure that that's what I'm going to do? But somehow it all, it all worked out. Did my 5-year bachelor's and then came to Texas A&M, did my master's and ended up in Dallas.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. So I only applied at one college also, and I didn't think anything of it because I was brainwashed from before I was born. Like, you will go to Purdue. Like, there's other colleges out there. And then now I hear people, I applied at 4 places. And I just thought, what if? We didn't have to go down that. But I'm like, no, I just applied to the one place.
We
So.
would have crossed the bridge when we got to it. But I didn't think anything of it, and where we live, it's a modern apartment, but we're surrounded by old temples. And the skyline was always like temple spires, and there was always like, I would always think
Non-office
about
building.
it. Yeah, like, oh, how did they build that? Like the basalt stone and, how did they put it all together? Like there was always like the questions of how certain buildings were put together. And I think it was always sort of dormant. And then as I grew older, I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Nice. So I don't think I knew that your dad was an artist.
Yeah.
So what kind of art does he do?
So he is a music composer.
Interesting.
Growing up, he had a studio, which like a recording studio by my name. So it was Studio Aarohi. And Aarohi means music. So it's the ascending order of like the melody. And, he dabbles in a little bit of everything. He writes screenplays, lyrics. He's a poet. He has a couple of books. So I was surrounded by that art, which I did think about set design would be cool too. There are so many avenues that you can take architecture once you know, once you've studied it.
No, that's really interesting. What are some key moments or challenges that you have had in your career?
I don't think has been anything sort of like life-changing. I'm a pretty risk-averse person. And as long as I had my creative outlet and good people to work with, I was fairly satisfied. I think the biggest thing, and I think you've probably heard that multiple times, is, if you don't see it, you can't be it. And I was very happy doing, at my level when I started in Dallas, but I did see like women leading teams or, principals. It was all men, and some of them are my mentors, and so it was a good professional journey with a few hiccups that were from the client, from the consultant, a few from within, but nothing that I couldn't navigate. But I think it was not until much later that I figured out, I have to use my voice. Like there's things that I'm thinking that other people are saying. And a lot of times I think it was cultural, right? Because you were always asked to work hard, keep your head down, don't make a noise, your hard work will be noticed. And that's what I heard the whole time I'm growing up, because no one said, oh, you have to make noise, you know, you have to be the loud voice in the room so that you can be picked, whatever. So after a while, it's like, if I don't say it, if you don't ask it, you don't get. And that's how I started asking for things like, hey, can I come with you? So I think that's an opportunity. It's like, can I join you in this meeting? And I think it worked in my favor because I was so different that I was memorable.
Nice. It's so interesting because speaking in front of groups or even just one-on-ones, that's not everybody's skill set. And sometimes it's scary or it's the unknown. Like you've never done it before, but if you never asked to go, you don't know what happens. And so I know like I've taught like a monthly BD class for the last 100 years, probably for the last 5 years. And I've heard over the years where it's the unknown and they're just like, they think that they're going to be pounded with questions about projects. and they can't believe when it's, hey, how's your kids? How's
The
your
small
summer?
talk, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that I was good at the small talk,
Mhm.
but I'm not getting the opportunity to do it.
Uh-huh.
I do remember one moment though in when I was working on a lot of Middle Eastern projects, and the work timing is sort of off
Uh-huh.
because you're staying late so that you can find that happy medium so you
Right.
can talk to the folks in the Middle East. And we used to use WebEx, it was that
Oh, yeah.
weird,
Uh-huh.
pre-COVID, the
Right.
video AV
Right.
was not that great.
Right.
And you were all in one room and you looked tiny and you had to make sure that you're leaning in and speaking into the microphone.
Yes.
And as a lot of Indians go, we're fluent in the language, but the delivery is different because you just naturally have a faster cadence of speaking. And I've had to unlearn that. And thanks to one of the supervisors who gave me advice, he said, everything that you say, the project inside out and you want to share it, but you just want to get it over with. And what happens is somewhere the delivery gets lost because the people on the other side over the phone can barely hear you. They have to keep redirecting the question to me. So he's like, slow it down. People in Texas speak slowly. And I noticed that too, right? Like there's no rush to get it over with. And I took, I did Toastmasters. I caught my, what do you call it? The crutch words.
Oh,
And I
yes.
slowed it down, and I taught myself to breathe. I still do it sometimes if I'm nervous. I will get just talk really fast, but then I have to remind myself just slow it down.
Yeah. So Texo started doing a Toastmasters program, and then they did construction in their main conference area. And so we actually have hosted Toastmasters for probably the last, several months at this point. And so we've put several of our people through the Toastmasters program.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing. And now I count other people's crutch words.
Uh-oh.
You cannot not, once you hear it.
So what's funny with these podcasts, and I really truly mean it, but I have found myself saying, oh, that's interesting.
Oh.
But start counting it because you're going to hear it about 10 times.
I have caught myself saying,
Oh, okay.
And I have so you go through your crutch words, because like before you replace it with like a breath,
I need a different word.
I need a different word.
Well, and I talk really fast too as well. And when I moved here, I actually found myself with those slow talkers finishing their sentence. I didn't know what the end of the sentence was, but I needed it to be done. And then it's just like, no, I'm just going to have to sit through this. And this is how it is. There's no hurry. I mean, what's it going to save? 2 minutes at the end of the day? So that's funny. Okay, so you mentioned you're not seeing that years ago you weren't seeing very many women in leadership. What are you seeing from 10 years ago to now?
Big change, right? And
That's
I think that's a general push. One thing that I think I'm glad I joined at my former firm, there was a group that was called Mentoring Advocates.
Oh, nice.
And I don't think I really gave mentoring much thought because you came in, you did your work, you mingled, socialized, and and it was long hours, when you're working in a global design firm that's working in China and Middle East and you are a young professional, you are working long hours. So there wasn't really time to do a lot of extra, outside your day to day, but we had a team that was mentoring advocates. We would have, we would pair up people, have events that would expose you to someone who's not on your team, someone who is in a different department at a different level. And you get to choose your mentor, but we encouraged people to keep up with that. And I think that really, really helped because that was the first step. And then we did a group that was called Women in Leadership, recognizing that we are a global design firm and there were events that I would go to and I would introduce myself to someone and they're from the same firm.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And we're like, this is not good. We need to know each other. And so the Women in Leadership was also a great, opportunity to sort of learn from other women who are doing the same thing but in a different office.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they're on their path to associates and principals. Or within the same office, you're meeting and talking about how can we make this industry better or how can we do what we're doing differently. So I think that just was visibility. And there's organizations now. I think there's more and more organizations that you can find the right one that fits your needs.
I do too. Yeah. I think I always say I can't wait to see where women are going to be in 10 years because I feel like over the last 10 years, I've seen a lot of growth of now these ladies are ending up in leadership positions and things. And so, and then you're seeing more and more women go into the industry. And so now there's finally people for them to look up to.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'm quoting this wrong, but there was this paper about like the missing 30% or whatever that women in the architectural industry left the industry or didn't stay long enough to make it to where they should have been. I don't know what those statistics are right now. I would be very curious to find out.
That would be interesting. I know every year during Women in Construction Week, you'll start seeing all the stats, and that's something that I want to pull this year.
Yeah.
Because we have several women in the office, but I know we have a lot of women out in the field. So
And that number is growing too. I love it when our projects have a PM who is a woman. They're just details, like detail oriented and
well, that's what we hear too. It's the women do a good job. They're not sloppy. They, even if they're cleaning, they're doing a great job at it, So we need all of these people to build our building.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Women in Construction Week isn't until March, but we were just talking about it right before you came in.
so many events too. Like you have to choose.
Yeah,
which
it needs to
Women in
be
Construction
Women in
event.
Construction Month
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
because there's too many things going on that week.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I do
always-
too.
yeah. A panel discussion or a networking mixer or some kind.
Or two.
Or two. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very busy week. I always look forward to it every year. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping we can do something a little extra special for all of the women
Right.
this year. So I feel like as it's gained popularity, different firms, they kind of step it up a little bit. And then they
Yeah.
see somebody over here
Oh,
doing
we gotta do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you talked a little bit about mentorship. Are you actively mentoring anyone right now, or do you
Not
have anything
formally.
in OTJ?
Not formally, but it's a constant process. I'm always talking. I will say I have never turned a meeting down. Ever. If there's anyone who's approached me to say, "Hey, I met you in Women in Architecture, at the AIA or Crew. Let's grab a coffee." I'm there for it. Because there were people who didn't turn me down when I asked for advice or when I asked for like, "Hey, I don't know enough about what you're doing. Can you tell me about the accounting process?" The commercial real estate industry, now that I've gotten to know it more, it's a complex web, right?
It really is.
And architecture is just like one piece.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like we're outside of the transaction bubble. And I don't know enough about the whole, transaction piece. And I've reached out to people, like lenders and brokers and tell me more. People have always stepped up. So you paid forward.
Right. That's really nice. I just met with a young lady late last week, and her email that she sent, she had done her homework, and I just thought, well, shoot, like I'm going to meet. She was lovely, and she just had a handful of questions. And I know over the years I've mentioned to a few people, and they're like, well, that isn't really directly related, but that's not really how it works. You never know who people know.
Yeah.
And like you said, people took a lot of time with me, and a coffee meeting isn't going to hurt anybody.
Nobody.
So
Yeah, even now it's like I love peer to peer. I love reaching out to women who are Crew, for instance. I found such good friends and mentors in the organization within AIA as well. And then there's all this really smart young architects, designers, brokers coming into the industry.
Yeah.
They are so sharp at 23 and 24 and so put together.
Yes.
And they negotiate so well. And I was a baby. Like if I only knew how to say half the things that you're saying to me. I mean, there weren't that many Instagram reels telling me how to say that either.
Exactly.
But I love that they're applying that, and I have to give in because I want y'all to get everything that you're due and that you have earned.
There's a couple girls that I meet with on a regular basis, young ladies that I meet with on a regular basis, and I learned just some of the questions and things that they have. It allows me to bring it back to make sure that my team knows what they're asking about,
Yeah.
just to kind of help elevate everybody. And I feel like years and years ago when I met with a mentor, I just said, like, isn't this a waste of your time? Why do you want, and she would say, I learned so much. And I would go like, how is she learning? And now I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
now you know.
now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
You know what has been my biggest lesson? Boundaries. I didn't have any. I would work endless hours. I would never say no. And I have started saying no once, once you have children, but setting those boundaries is, there's a work life and there's a life,
Right. Right.
And I'm setting this boundary, which at first to me was hard to digest because it's like, but I didn't get to do that. And I was like, I'm not going to be the person that ever says, that's not how we did it, or that's not how we do it, because where's the learning in that?
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the lady said, no, everybody needs to pay their dues. And I was so shocked because I just thought, well, no, like that's what helps progress.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they're going to pay a due. It might not look like our dues, but they're going to pay a due of some sort. Yeah, it's just a different one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So this is not on the questions. Work-life balance.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase that you like?
I don't, because I wasn't very good at it. I still don't think I am good at it. I mean, you just heard me talk to my son about him going to Dairy Queen, right? So I try to balance it, but I will say that they see what I do and they are so incredibly proud of me. I feel like they're proud of their dad too, but what I do is tangible versus
Right.
dad does is not tangible, so they don't understand it. But what I do is build. And so they appreciate it.
Nice.
They'll Google me, and the friends will Google parent. My son will be like, look at my mom. Like, if you Google my mom's famous.
My mom's famous.
Please don't say that. But yes, I think I've gotten much better at giving the evening time to the kids. You can always get back, on your computer and catch up for the next day. It's gotten better. I've gotten better.
Good. So I know you're a big extrovert. And so from the outside looking in, it looks like you're doing all the work-life balance, everything.
Yes.
Because I feel like you're at every kid event, you're doing lots of family vacation things. So
I have a very supportive husband. Like, it would be wrong to not credit him for sort of picking up the slack, and we do the same for each other. So
Nice.
he's like, I'm doing it all. If I'm traveling, he's handling the kids and the running around. And it wouldn't be possible we don't have family here, or close family here. So we wouldn't do this if we didn't have friends who can jump in and help us out, get us out of a bind with a pickup or a drop off, or, just like my kid off for a whole week and say it's gonna be a camp, at home, and they just and the
Nice.
kids are good, they're independent kids now. So I'm like, I love that just happened.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I'm seeing you do lots of good mom things. So
Thank you for saying that. Hopefully they think so too.
I'm sure they do. I mean, they're smiling in the pictures. So.
I have to bribe them sometimes.
Need reliable, high-quality service for your commercial project? Choose Carrco, the most trusted contractor in commercial painting and drywall in Dallas-Fort Worth. With over 30 years of experience, Carrco delivers top-tier craftsmanship across Texas. From expert painting to seamless drywall, we handle it all, on time and on budget. Transform your space with the professionals at Carrco. Visit carrcopainting.com today. Carrco, where quality meets reliability.
What is something unique or surprising in your journey that you've had? And maybe this is a little bit of our talk to jump to OTJ, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I mean, I think the key word here is a leap of faith, right? Because I did say that I'm risk averse. So and how this came about, this was 2021. We were just coming out of COVID, the whole landscape for the work that I had gotten out of a lot of Middle Eastern projects, focusing on projects stateside, and just post-COVID environment wasn't really great. And I was ready to make a change, but wasn't really looking, because you get sort of comfortable where you are, right? And OTJ called and there's that imposter syndrome. Like, you don't mean me, I can't do this. And I even said, like, I can make recommendations,
Interesting.
but I'm so glad that they were persistent because I think it was one of the best decisions. And my husband was like, it's been 15 years. It's about time that you make a change. And what is the worst that can happen? You fail and you can go back to, to the firm that you were, or, someplace else. And so that was December 2021. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. That's how we started. And, Sarah and I were both in it together. And we were like, okay, we're just gonna, leverage connections, build this team. And friends came out of the woodwork almost, right? Like when you're doing something, you're one of them, like, let me make an introduction.
Yeah.
Or here's a lead. Did you hear about so and so? So many people were rooting for me and rooting for us to win because we were the underdogs. We were the new kid on the block.
And it was so exciting for us to kind of have grown up together. And you're just like, oh, this lady, I've been watching her. She's been doing all these awesome, amazing things. And now she's been given the platform to just run.
Yeah.
So
And I will say that's a very good point because I was given really good foundation to build the office on, right? So being DC based, there was business development support, accounting support. Lance Chakard, our CEO, said, think like an entrepreneur. Everyone should think like an entrepreneur because you have to project, you're basically OTJ. And you have this amazing portfolio that we're going to leverage, but there's all the support you need.
That's nice.
The accounting is there, the marketing is there. We have amazing marketing team that really allows us to put our best foot forward when we're responding to things. And then they mentioned consultants and friends that came to support us. And then we built the team very intentionally. It took us a while because we had the 250 people nationally to leverage. So there was no rush to just hire willy-nilly.
Nice.
Right? You could be very thoughtful, let people make recommendations, seek out the right people to build this team. And I'm grateful for that. My biggest lesson has been the business side, the business of architecture, because architecture, I know. I can do that in my sleep. I can put a team together, put a project together, no problem. But no one ever teaches you the business of architecture in school, right? There's theory. But no one really dissects how it all comes together.
I wish that there were a handful of, I don't know, colleges that would have, I know that there's like I'm on the advisory board, but they're not asking me about the business side of things. And it's like, gosh, if that was just, even if it was just one class, not that you're going to need it when you're 22 and you've graduated, but at least you would have like a little bit of knowledge on money.
And I always say that I do this panel at SMU with a bunch of women from crew, and it's at the real estate law class.
Yes.
And that panel is so great because it is lender, broker, attorney, title company, myself.
Nice.
Right? And so it's like so many aspects of a typical commercial real estate transaction. And I have learned, like, yes, I'm a panelist, but every spring, every fall, I've learned a thing or two that is new,
Right.
Because of how the conversation comes together. And if we could have a class in every architecture school that was focusing on how a project comes about. As an architect, where do you fit in?
Right.
Into this matrix would be incredible.
So that's like perfect segue for the panel that you are going to be on at the end of September, because like all of a sudden I've had several people asking questions, and then at my women's networking group, you can kind of see some of the ladies, they're like, well, I don't really know, they haven't verbalized it, but you can tell they don't know where they fit in, and they don't necessarily understand who hires who, like how that part of it works. So that's when Lydia and I were like, we need to put this panel together. And so, we have from the top to the bottom of how many people, big firms that it takes to put this together, and then 1,000 people out in a job to actually make it all happen,
I love that because it was a few years ago for Women in Architecture event. We did one that was called Hello from the Other Side. And it was all the consultants that work with architects telling us how to be better architects. And so we had a GC, an engineer. It was such a good conversation. So I'm looking forward to.
I am too. Yeah. And I mean, there's always something else to learn. You know, when I left engineering and moved to the trade side of things, now I have like another layer that I've learned about. So yeah, there's always something else to learn. What are some things you're seeing about like industry trends right now?
So one of the biggest trend is back to office. All our workplace, there's not as much downsizing as people thought there would be. There's not as much hoteling as people thought there would be. It's definitely a flight to quality. People post-COVID appreciate quality of life. And that is manifesting itself in the way we design spaces now, right? And you've heard that, like more daylight, offices that where all along the window lines are being pulled in. There's more collaboration spaces. We call them collision spaces, opportunities for people
Nice.
to come and mingle. Because what is it that you don't get? Because work from home setup is excellent, right? So you're coming back to the office for something completely different. And that is definitely what we're seeing. Hospitality push is big. A lot of buildings that are being purchased and are changing hands. That again, it's flight to quality, right? Everyone wants something that they don't get at home. Because if they have it at home, what's the need to commute 40 minutes other than your employer telling you have to? But you want people to want to come into the office, not have to come into.
Is there something crazy that somebody's like, we have to have XYZ? And you're like, okay, I'll design it in there.
Honestly, no. I mean, we have the crazy ideas that we would love for someone to do it. We did a project. OTJ did a project that had like an oxygen bar, which I thought was so cool, and a swing. So it's like I think there's a sprinkling of fun elements. And we talked about branding. Like branding is become a big thing. It's not sort of an afterthought. It's almost like let's weave it into the design as we go. So it's not just a logo plastered on the wall. It's so much more.
Nice.
Art is definitely making more of a presence.
Interesting.
We've spoken to and worked with a couple of art curators and consultants. So digital, technology and media. So the media walls are big. I mean, I'm just mentioning a few things here and there, but I think the something to take away is flight to quality for sure.
Nice. That's interesting. Let's see. What are you most passionate about in your job?
People.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down. I love the team that we're building here. You learn what you should do and you learn what you shouldn't do in your journey as you grow as a professional. And I've taken all of those things that maybe weren't so pleasant and worked really well. And I'm like, this is how we're gonna put our team together.
Nice.
Every office, every studio. So OTJ, one thing that OTJ does really well is we're broken up into studios, and every studio is about 18 to 20 people. So that keeps your team at a good size that you can really pay attention to your projects and your clients, right? And then what that allows you to do is growth opportunities. So if you're booming, then there's an opportunity for someone who has tenure, who has shown you what they can do to move and start their own.
Nice.
And you can only do it if you have really good people that are invested. And I feel very blessed that we do have those people.
Nice.
This is the team that came and painted walls because it was their office.
Right.
This is the team that is going to pay attention to what we have and what we don't have in the office, because we don't have an admin in the office, right?
Right.
We're all our own admins. And I think that investment in who you are as a brand and who you are as a team is going to go a long way.
That's nice.
And that is truly what I'm passionate about. Because projects are going to come and go. The project types, I'm project agnostic, right? Like if it's a fun project, we're going to do it.
Nice. What are some of your future goals?
I said this to one of my colleagues yesterday, and
We're putting it out there.
we're gonna manifest it. We're gonna put it out there. Okay, so we're four years in, and we have our name on the fence. We want a name on a shovel, and we want a name on a crane.
Okay.
So let's go.
Nice. Ooh, I like this. So we need to break some ground.
We
on
need to break
something?
some ground on something.
And
It's happening.
put it out
It's
there.
gonna happen. It's
Okay.
gonna happen soon. Yeah.
Nice. I know Will years ago they started doing their company names on the cranes, but they lit theirs up. And
I love
so
that.
I like a lit up sign too.
Yeah, a fence is not enough.
Oh, I love it. These are great. That's really good. What is the biggest struggle you're having right now, and how are you tackling it?
I think personally, my struggle is giving myself some time. With age, I just need to focus on health, both, physical, mental health. Kids are at an age when, it's not I just said that they're not physically needy, they're emotionally needy. So I want to make sure that home base is good and secure. On the work side, it's basically time management. I'm stepping into a role at crew that's going to take a lot of my time, as well as I want to add a few new team members strategically. I'm looking for someone who is more in a management role as we grow. And I think finding the right people is a little challenging right now. And when I've been extremely patient, and OTJ has been really patient and supportive of picking and choosing the right people, but I think to round out the team, we need a few new gems.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had Emily Harris on a couple weeks ago, and she's a recruiter, fairly new to the AEC space. And she had such interesting things to talk about, like what she's doing with recruiting.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that really stuck out was she said sometimes people can be a B player at one firm and be an A plus 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 player at another firm.
Yes.
And I've thought about that a lot because it could be a cultural thing. It could just be what's the office space set up. But yeah, that wait for those gems, it is tough.
It is tough, but you know what? It's so worth it because I had, I will say, I made my fair share of mistakes. I call them growing pains.
Absolutely.
And it's been such a good lesson to listen to your gut. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is, And so I've taken those lessons to heart. The team that we have now I can't brag on them enough. And also they're fun.
That's nice. Yeah, that's really good. I feel like I was going to say something else about finding those gems, but it'll probably come.
Well, if you find a gem, you said,
yeah, I will. I will. It's on my. What are some of your hobbies outside of work?
I have so many. That's the problem, right? Like
We need more time.
we need more time. I like to cook. I don't get enough time to do that. I like going to live events. My husband and I both love concerts.
Nice.
Any kind of concert. I love going to plays. We love, and I say I and not we because my husband's not a fan. He doesn't come to every Broadway show, but any musical event, stand-up comedy, anything live. We love doing that. We took our kids to their first concert too, Imagine Dragons. So kind of slowly making sure that we can start enjoying that. We love to travel. Would love to travel a little bit more. And I love entertaining.
Nice.
And I'm always, if I could, I would have people over all the time. But I
Nice.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Do you remember years ago when you put all those little spices together for me? I mean, I think of you every time I open up my pantry because I'm like, there's her little, there's her. I just refilled it. I just kept them in the jar.
Yeah.
So I've told so many people about that because you called it the Indian cooking starter pack.
Yes, it is.
And I loved it because it was all stuff that you're probably never going to buy without knowing what to do with it. And so I think about that a lot.
Yeah, it truly is a starter pack. Yeah, I should make more of those
You
because
should.
people ask me basics of cooking all the time.
Yeah. And then it's like, one of them just says, use on beans or something. I'm like, okay, well, here we go. Do you have a defining moment or a philosophy that you live by?
I have a few. It
Okay.
depends on. So there was a saying that I heard not too long ago that said curiosity over certainty. And that's it. And I was like, it is so profound because when you are so certain about something, you close the doors to learning anything more. And curiosity means you're always going to ask more questions and the learning never stops. Right. And no matter how accomplished you feel or how old you get, there's so many things I don't know. Like when you walk into like a panel discussion or just like talk to people who are accomplished and then you suddenly are back to being a student again. You're like, there's so much I do not know.
Have you done the Strengths Finders test? Is learner in your top?
So woo.
Woo. Okay. That doesn't surprise me at all. And then I feel like learner is probably like
And
right below.
strategy is the lowest. Because it's the artistic side of me.
Yeah.
I'm low on strategy, but that just means that I have to align myself with
Hire the right person.
people. Exactly.
Yeah, I forget what my bottom one is too. And I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yeah. But they're all strengths.
Right.
That's what I love about
Right.
strength finders.
Uh-huh. Yeah, learner is my number one. So I'm always
Learning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who or what inspires you the most?
Oh gosh. I would say the kids.
Nice.
There's just things that they say and do that I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
Oh, interesting.
And I think they're also a source of a constant inspiration for me because there's so much that we do. As much as we think we do it for ourselves, we're doing it for.
Well, and I've maybe like said hello to your kid. Like that's as much, but from what I see on social media, like they're so completely different.
So different.
That's probably an interesting thing to kind of navigate and everything.
So different. I always say that I want to be my daughter when I grow up.
Yeah.
Because she's so cool.
Yeah. Nice.
And I'm like, you have a little bit of me, but then you have so much of you. Like you've just
nice.
got such a big personality, and she's so high EQ.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, that is rare.
I was going to say
to
that
find
doesn't
in
happen very
10-year-old.
often.
And I think that is really going to serve. I feel like I have high EQ too, but she surprises me sometimes.
So at the age of 10, what does she want to do when she grows up today?
I think she definitely wants to do something in the arts. Like she wants to be on TV or Broadway, like definitely.
Interesting. Yeah.
Performing art. At least for now. Or she said, or she'll be an engineer. It was really funny because we did a trip to Boston and we took them to Harvard.
Yeah.
And we walked around and she goes, but this is nice and all, but I think I'd still like to go to Texas A&M. And I'm like, I have no clue.
You've brainwashed her well. That's awesome.
And I didn't, but I think she's just heard us talk enough about Texas A&M that she's like, I'm not going to pick Harvard. And I'm like, are they going to pick you?
That's great. You need to remind her of that whenever she accepts whatever college she goes to.
And like you said, and my son he is the complete opposite. Like I think he is amazing with the Rubik's Cube. And I'm like, how did you just do that?
Yeah.
The triangle, the odd shape cubing. It's like my brain doesn't work.
No, my brain doesn't work that way either. What does he want to be when he grows up?
A geologist.
Oh,
that's what he says right now. But or a streamer, like a YouTuber, because they all want to be
Every kid wants to do that.
I
mean, look, you're one step closer to it.
Right? I should tell them that I did a podcast today.
Okay, I have a list of what I call quick fire round questions, but then I always dig in and ask lots more questions. What's the last book that you read?
I read The Fourth Wing. Okay. And I'm reading Iron Flame right now.
Okay.
I'm so surprised I'm into this. Like I did not think like fantasy fiction was my thing.
So the book club that I mentioned earlier, that was like every book for what seemed like 5 years. Not really. It's like, but 6 in a row. I was like, okay, ladies, we've got to pick something. We got to pick something different. But no, that was, I think, one of our first book club books. What's your favorite quote?
I mentioned curiosity over certainty, but there's another one. And it says, be brave to suck at something new. And I've said it so many times and I love it. Because if I wouldn't believe in it, I wouldn't have done what I'm doing now.
Right. It's the only way you're going to get to that new thing.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. What is a skill you would like to learn?
I don't know if that's a skill. Maybe it's more of a habit. I'll say two things. One, waking up early. Because
Okay.
I'm not that person. And I know the value of waking up early. I just cannot do it. And on the skill side, I think I want to be better at numbers and finances. And I try to learn it. My artistic brain just takes over. And it sounds like the parents speaking in a Peanuts movie. It's like, and like, okay, but I know you're trying to explain something to me, but I'm not absorbing it. And I've really gotten into hot yoga,
Nice.
and I want to do more arm balancing. So I really want to work on
Yeah.
those skills.
Nice. I went through yoga teacher training
Okay.
years and years ago. I actually have my 500-hour certification because I like learning. So I'm like, oh, there's another class. Let me sign up for a class.
Yeah.
And so in all that yoga teacher training, that's when I was like, peak. Let me do the arm balances. I don't know if I could do any of
I did
that.
my first headstand at the age of 40. Headstand. So I haven't gotten to the handstand yet. But that was last year.
Good for you.
Before Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I never thought I could do this.
As a grown-up.
But I did it, and I was just, and I've also never done monkey bars. So who knows? Maybe I'll do them next year.
I know at some of those like advanced level hot yoga classes, some of the girls I can remember would do like a handstand just in the flow transition. And I'm just like, I don't even know how she's doing that in this transition and then not knocking everyone else down.
Yeah.
Because if I did, I'd be like, watch out,
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm still so clumsy. Like you can hear my feet come down with a big thud.
Where do you take your hot yoga classes?
There's a place called Semitone Yoga up in North Dallas.
Okay, nice.
And, I can't go during the week, but Saturday, Sunday, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I kind of, now that I've done the class, the 500-hour certification, then I'm like, okay, what's next? And so then I go in phases with yoga. So but no, I feel like that's a good lifetime hobby to do. Okay, so there's a couple other things that we wanted to talk about, and one is Crew Dallas, and you are the incoming president for Crew Dallas. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Excited, nervous, everything, everything in between, but more excited than nervous. Crew is an organization that I feel like grown with. OTJ also came to me via Crew. One of the women in Crew suggested my name to OTJ. So there's so many great coincidences that have happened to me, great friendships, but also the work that Crew is doing is worth mentioning. For those of your listeners that don't know, it's a prominent commercial real estate organization for women. You are a part of it too. And so I want to do my bit. Our organization has grown. It's beyond networking. It's networking, empowering, and just being a solid support and foundation for women who want to enter this industry and thrive in this industry.
Nice. And you've mentioned AIA a couple times and WIA.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
So American Institute of Architects, AIA Dallas, I've spent some time serving on the board there as well. And WIA has been particularly my favorite part of AIA. I have chaired it with some amazing chairs and have great events and programs for women in architecture who want to network and mentor and be mentored. So definitely I think it's worth checking those organizations.
Every WIA event that I've been to has just been wonderful. A great group of people, great programming. I feel like it's that missing something that is definitely needed in the architecture world.
Definitely. It's a great place to meet with, friends in the industry that you might be competitors, but in that group, you're just having fun, making friends and sharing, giving advice or receiving advice.
I remember my very first WIA event that I signed up for.
I might have made you sign up for it.
It was a sketch event.
Yes.
And I was like,
and did you sponsor it?
Maybe.
Yes.
We might have sponsored it.
Yes.
And so I just assumed that it said that there was going to be an instructor of some sort. I'm like, okay, not thinking that these are architects who literally sketch things on a daily basis. And I walk in and there's people with their watercolors and fancy pencils. And I was like, oh no, this is this is going to be bad. I had a great time. Everyone else's artwork got a gold star.
Yeah.
I probably did not get a gold star.
I
that
think
day.
it's not the result, it's the process that's always fun. I watch people, watercolor too, and I'm like, how did you
I don't know. That was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
We also mentioned the Columns magazine.
Yes. I should have mentioned it when you said, what is it that you want to improve in or what skills? That is a skill I definitely want because when I was asked to be one of the guest editors for the upcoming issue of Columns, I seldom say no to things that are challenging because I'm like, okay, it's an opportunity to do something I haven't done before. And my dad being a writer, I'm like, surely I can do this. No, it's hard, let me tell you, because if you don't want to lean on ChatGPT, then writing is hard. And I will say, like, yes, I had people review it and I did use help, but starting was difficult. But the content was easy because I got to interview two amazing women.
Nice.
But yes, definitely something I want to work on. My skills is like the writing, just how to tell the story,
Nice.
the storytelling. It's not easy.
No, it's an art.
It's an art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe catch that and tell me what you thought of it.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so you mentioned that New York City is your favorite place that you visited. Is there anything else you want to share with that? Or
I love traveling. So I'm definitely a city girl. I will say that. I can appreciate glamping and nature. And like after 4 days, I'm like, okay, now can we go back to where the buses are?
Yeah. So you just got back from Bar Harbor, and
Yeah.
we leave next week for
Yeah.
Bar Harbor. So that's like all nature.
I loved it though.
Nice.
I think we could have almost given a little more time to Bar Harbor than Boston. I loved Boston, but if you're traveling with kids, too many museums is too many museums. you know?
Yes.
But coming back to New York City, there's something for everybody, right? Like you want to be fancy, be fancy.
Yeah.
You want to be, artistic. Like my friend and I, Thursdays in Brooklyn, we just walked art galleries.
Nice.
There's a museum for every fetish, There's shopping for everyone. The food is great. So every time I go back to New York, I do something different. And
Nice.
I'm like, oh, I didn't know that we could do that. We did a play there that was reversed where
I've heard about
where
this.
the audience
Uh-huh.
wears a mask and walks around where the performances are happening on a different floor. My kids did a thing called shot of art where you could go to a room and just splash paint everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So there's always something for everybody.
Yeah. So my New York City memory was when I was 4, and my dad's like, "You don't remember this whole family vacation?" And I'm like, "I was 4." So my memory was walking up the steps of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh.
This is a 4-year-old memory.
Yeah.
And I remember it felt like the stairway was so narrow. I felt like my dad's shoulders brushed the sides of, I don't really know if that was true or not. And then this was way back a million years ago when you could still go out and look out at the crown. And I
Yeah.
guess that's been, or
Yeah, but I don't think they do that anymore.
and those are my
Yes.
memories.
See, my oldest memory was I visited before I moved to the States. I visited during the 1996 Atlanta Olympics
Oh, wow.
and went to New York City
Uh-huh.
and went up the World Trade Center.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was an amazing trip.
Yeah.
And, it was a different kind. It was a
Different time.
different time, different New
Mhm.
York.
Yeah. Will and I have talked about it for the last few years to go during Christmas time so we can
Yeah.
see the Rockettes and the Christmas tree. And
You reminded me, our family shared a family memory is the Macy's Day Parade.
oh, wow.
And we were like on the
Wow.
fence and
Uh-huh.
my kids were on TV.
Oh, how
Yes.
cool is that?
Yeah.
That's
So that
neat.
was fun. So yes, I will go back to New York anytime.
Nice. That's cool. What is your favorite construction project that you have been a part of?
I'll mention two projects. So one of them is called Yas Mall, long time back. That is in Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. And that was a project that took many, many years
Wow.
and, late nights, but it turned out to be a beautiful project, big team. And I have friends there who, live in Dubai, have gone there.
Oh.
and they've sent me pictures, and I'm like, I designed that.
Yeah.
I worked on that.
That's cool.
It turned out to be a really great project. And then there's a project in Arlington, Virginia called the Ballston Quarter.
Uh-huh.
And that I always say that's my baby, because that project, we basically turned like a 1980s mall inside out.
Nice.
It turned out to be a really cool project.
That's cool.
Learned a lot on that project.
Nice. Well, I think we have gone through all of our questions. So I think that is it. And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Good.